Yeah, man, this thing starts right up, purrs like a kitten now. No clatter at all. So, the thing about these oil discussions is they're always so polarizing. Everybody's got an opinion, and that's fine. There's different angles you can come at this topic from, and everybody has their own opinion on it. And I get it, that's fine. But, I personally just feel like these older engines, and again, most of the stuff that I drive, Jeeps and Dodges, Rams, Fords, all of those vehicles that I have or have had, lately, they're all running engines that were developed a couple of decades ago. I mean, they're getting to be old designs now. So that's the stuff that I'm familiar with. I realize that some of the new engines coming out, like in Toyotas, for example, they have new engines that are designed with that thin viscosity in mind as they're designing the engine. There are some companies that are doing that, and I understand that, but I don't own any of those, probably wouldn't own any of those because I'm not interested in that type of vehicle. So anyway, these Jeeps and cars and trucks that I have, with the engines that have been around for a long time, that originally spec'd 5W30 or 5W40 oil, I just feel like it's better to keep running those viscosities, even if the automaker changes the viscosity in the manual to serve whatever purpose they want to serve that's better for them, whether it be squeezing out a fraction of a mile per gallon on the EPA certification test or whatever the case might be, whatever it is that they're doing that. And by the way, they get credit from the EPA if they specify longer oil change intervals also. You notice a lot of these vehicles are going to 10,000 or some even 15,000 mile oil change intervals. Well, they do that because they're getting, kickback and credit from the EPA for that too, because there's an assumption that that would be better for the environment if you're not dumping used oil as often. But anyway, there's reasons why the automakers are doing these things, and it all comes back to the almighty dollar. It's not because 0W20 is what's best for your Jeep or your Ram truck or your Mustang GT or whatever. That's not why they spec these oils that are thinner and have less viscosity. They do it for monetary reasons, basically. I'm a firm believer in that. So I'm going to keep running the stuff that these engines were designed for years ago when they first came out. It serves me well to do that. Makes me feel better about it. I know it's protecting the valve train better because you can hear it. When you dump that 0W20 out and you put a good viscosity oil in there, and immediately the engine gets quieter, and immediately that clatter upon a cold start goes away. Obviously that's a good thing, So anyhow, I realize there's a lot of different opinions on this. I'm not trying to really act like I know everything, but this is what works for me, and I think it's pretty interesting stuff. So it is what it is. All right, let's pull this dipstick and see. Now, remember this oil, if you read on the bottle, it says that it works over time, basically. So let's pull this out and look at it. Wow, check that out. Look at that. It's already, here, let me see if I can get the lighting. So right up in this area, right here, this was covered in varnish, remember? And down in the hatched area there that shows your safe zone, that was nothing but varnish. And now, if I just simply wipe this a little bit, look at that. This area right here is looking completely cleaned up already. And then the hatched zone where you've got all those marks that are cut into the dipstick so deposits can stick to that pretty well, that's beginning to get cleaned up already. Look at that. But all the varnish that was back here, and you remember in the previous video, I took a towel and I wiped that. I mean, it wasn't just coming off. I maybe could have scrubbed it off, but it wasn't going to just come off. And now I wiped it one time with this McDonald's napkin, and look at that. So that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive, man. That's pretty cool. So the thing is, obviously the dipstick is not a critical component in this engine, but the point is, if the oil is doing that to the dipstick, you can only imagine what it's doing down here in your valve train, okay, because the dipstick is just sticking down into the crankcase. It's just bathed in the oil, right? There's not a lot of agitation going on in there, just a little, not a lot. But you can imagine up here in your heads where your valve train is running all the time and there's agitation going on. You can only imagine how well this oil is cleaning that stuff. I mean, if it did that to the dipstick in 1 week, this is going to be fantastic. Just amazing. I'm going to pull this oil cap here. Just look at this. Man, I don't know if you can tell. Look at that. That's already getting cleaner looking. Remember when I had this oil cap off in the previous video, you could see that coloring, that rust color that had built up in there from the varnish that was even getting up in the oil cap. And now that's, look at that, that's even cleaned up. It's black again in there now. Same color as the plastic. That's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. So, you know, obviously I'm not going to tear this engine down right now and look at it, but you can just tell from this ancillary stuff how it's being cleaned up. You can just tell that this oil is doing what it claims to do. It actually is cleaning up the deposits, the varnish. If there's any sludge in the engine, which I doubt there is in this one, it's cleaning all that stuff up. That's pretty amazing. Man, good job, Valvoline. And I'll tell you what, while we're under the hood here, let me start this engine up again so you can hear how this thing is just so smooth now. It just runs so good. Man, I like these 3.6 liter engines. I mean, they're not the most fuel efficient, but they're pretty daggone good, around 20 miles per gallon. And the horsepower's there. They're dependable. You know, I mean, it's just, I like these engines. A lot of people have been ragging on them for years. I like them. I've had really good luck with them. 200,267 miles. And it's just as smooth as can be. So yeah, again, like I said in the other video, this is not a sponsored video. I'm not advertising anything here, but when a product comes out that's pretty cool and promises to do some very beneficial things, it's interesting to see whether they actually accomplish what they claim they're going to accomplish or not. You know, and so I think we should give some credit to Valvoline here, because this oil does do what they say it will do. And again, you read the literature on it and it tells you that with continued oil change intervals, that's the phrase that they use there, continued oil change intervals, that it will clean the engine, restore it to new, and protect it. That's the, you know, hence the name Valvoline Restore and Protect. You know, so it's supposed to work over time. But as you can see here, I've only been running this for a week and it's already doing its thing. So the one thing that I was concerned about is oil filter overloading. So you can imagine if the deposits in the engine are being cleaned like that, they're going somewhere, right? Where they're going to is the oil filter. So I had a little bit of concern about that. I was like, you know, if you go a full oil change interval on, like, this is a perfect example. This engine has 200,000 miles on it. You know, if I switch over to the Valvoline Restore and Protect like I just did, all of a sudden you've got all these deposits that are being cleaned up. You know, where are they going to? They're going to the filter. Is the filter going to get clogged up faster than it normally would? So anyway, I did a little research on that, and it seems like that's not going to really be an issue. You know, a lot of people have been running this oil already. They haven't had any issues. Valvoline says they've tested it heavily on high mileage vehicles, haven't had any issues. So I don't think that oil filter overloading is going to be a problem. But on these engines, the oil filter is so easy to get to. It's a top load filter, piece of cake, no mess. They're like $9 at Walmart for a filter. You could easily, if you wanted to, swap out the filter. Let's say you're going to go, I don't know, let's say you're planning on going 8,000 miles on your oil change interval. At 4,000, halfway through, you could run over to Walmart, grab a filter, swap the filter out real quick if you wanted to, just to give yourself peace of mind. So So anyway, the oil filter overloading thing is not going to be a problem or a concern either. So awesome product from Valvoline. From what I have read, they kind of stumbled upon it. That's how some of the greatest inventions of our lifetimes happened. You know, these companies are just experimenting with things in the lab and they just stumble upon something, you know, and I think that's what happened to Valvoline here with this Restore and Protect product. But it seems like it's doing exactly what it said, and we're going to keep on running it. So pretty cool stuff. Short video for today, but I just wanted to update you on that. Thanks for watching. So having said that, I'm going to get some lunch because I'm hungry. So thanks for watching, guys, and we will chat with you later.